Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the Skeinz Diaries. I know I'm still getting my act together. I've literally just walked in from the mill. Good morning. This is the Skeinz Diaries. Welcome along. I am Maree. It is Monday, the 24th of July. I've got all my tits in a tangle of cables and cords everywhere. Hello, everybody. How is everyone? I hope this is even working because I haven't even checked. Oh, gosh. Oh, yes. There we go. The microphone says it's working. Says I've got bars. I should be able to talk to you. So this is very good. Mondays. I'm just going to have to do this because I'm gasping. Morning, Dell. Mondays. Mondays are mill days, you see. And even though this wasn't have a meeting at the mill fortnight, because we do big meetings every fortnight, there's still so much to catch up on while I was across there. And Clea was across there. And so we were there together and we were in different parts, all doing different things at different times. And crazy. Cray. I know. And I literally, we both literally walked back through the door here at 2 minutes to 11. So hence the lateness. Good morning. Oh, hey, hello. Hey, Janet. Happy birthday for last week, by the way, to Janet. And good morning, everyone, and welcome along. It is cold and grey and frigid here. We had a beautiful day yesterday, and I kind of got all hopeful that we were back to what I call our bluebird winter days here in the Bay, and it wasn't to be. Was not to be. So there you go. But yes, it welcome. Come on, and everyone is coming on. Right, let's what we're going to start off with. I'm going to start off with the sale. The Incognito Sale. As you saw, I finally got that up at about 10, 11 on Friday morning, and it was all pretty much done and dusted by Friday night. So you guys loved it to that end, and it means that obviously Heather is going hammer and tongs out there as we speak. They'd already obviously started on the Friday. They did 2 picks and packs on Friday. So some of you guys may even already have had yarn arrive this morning. Went absolute gangbusters. There are only 2 shades left, which are the melon. We're joking, we're calling it the fruit salad. Melon and lime are the 2 that are left, which is, I find I'm quietly quite happy about that because lime is the colour. I had 2 colours that I had my eye on, but lime was the main one. And I love that lime. So I think it's the universe telling me that it's okay for me to buy a couple of packets of lime. So but they are still only going to be in 10 packs. And I just need to check the pricing. The pricing may have gone back up, but I might flick that back down again to the end of the month, actually, to see if we can clear those through. I'll talk to me, mate. I'll do it now. Should I do it now if it's gone back up? Go on. I have the power. Should we do it? There's only the 2 lots left. Right. Unless she's already changed it. Let's have a look. So what else has everyone been up to? How was everyone's weekends? Did you get knitting done is the most important thing. I actually got some knitting done on Friday morning, and I'm going to show you this in a second once I've done this. What am I doing? Right. I know. Just talk amongst yourselves, people. Talk amongst yourselves. And I'll get this done because it won't take me that long to do. There we go. Done. Yes, there we go. We've got no, we want to do that. Done. And let's jump down to the next one. Oh, yeah, there's stuff all left of both of them. So I'm going to put them both back up on sale price. And then we know that we are, then if you want to grab them and you don't want to miss out, they're there. So I've just gone and done that. Now, here we go. Look at that. Done like a dog's done. Let's just make sure it's doing it and showing it before I go back and talk to you. Done. Right, done. Go that. Yay! You're probably looking at that and it was all wobbling around and there we go. Margaret, there we go. Just start, Margaret. So you guys just check. And that should be all sorted for you. There you go, just like that. So to that end, where there may be an extra day or two's delay because so many orders came in across that period of time, as you can imagine. But that's all right. We will. The nice thing is it's being packs. That's why we were able to do such a good price on those packs, because from a pick and pack dispatch perspective, it saves a massive amount of time. So hopefully it shouldn't be too long. So yeah, yay. Very good on that. Right. Oh, and I'll get out of the way the other stuff first, and then I'll show you my work in progress because I want to gas about that. The other thing, I've been in early this morning, and because the photography, we got all the photography back, and one of the things in the photography was this, because I've had this sitting on my desk now for about a week or 10 days, and I just adore it. I've shown it to you when I was pulling it off the cone, which is the Rosewell, which is the new colour in the Highlander Heathers. I have to admit, I think this is now my new favourite colour. The Stornoway has been my new favourite colour. The camera is not showing it as it's a beautiful thistle lilac. It is gorgeous. It's called Rosewell because it is named after a place. If the melon's still showing at 100, you might just need to either refresh your screen or clear the cookies, because it is definitely pulled down, because that's what I'll be doing. That's all. Close the browser out and go back in and reopen the browser, or open with a new browser. That should do the trick. Sorry, distracted. So all of it is named after different places. And it's just utterly gorgeous. So this is now the full range. I'm going to see if I can get all 5 of them held up. And I just love them so. I think this is probably our most underrated yarn that we have here at Skeinz, are these heathers. We just adore them. Let's see if I can. There we go. Just adore them. So they all are there. And it's not showing that there's quite a big difference between the Scotch Mist and the Rosewell and the Stornoway. Look at that, with the darker colours there. For colour work, incredible. If you throw in and you need some extra contrast, remember that the Southlander cream and oatmeal, of course, are all spun using the same fibre, and you've got that full set of contrasts there. What I love about this is that it's got this one for a pale heather, has got all the deep variations between pink and lavender and lilac and a little bit of blue. So if you were to wear it with blues, I mean, like you would see different elements in it depending on what you're wearing, which is what I absolutely love. Now, the other thing I also do is I grab this. This is the Provence, which is the Whisper Fine. And part of the reason they are a perfect match. So if you're wanting to either work them together or do something where you're working them, not worked, double-stranded, but side by side, they are literally peas and carrots. They're perfect. They will look amazing. It just... this is the problem. I see this and I just want to cast on. If you want to do a love note, and we both know someone who was here on Thursday and we know what he thinks about love notes, I personally like Love Note. I like Love Note because it fits me well, and it's quick to knit, and you don't have to do the lacy bit if you don't want to do the lacy bit. And I've seen actually projects out there, people who have just not done the lace and just done it as a quick, simple top-down A-liney swingy sweater, and it looks fabulous. It looks really good. The last one I did, as I said, I dropped my gauge back and dropped it from the 6mm needle back to a 5mm needle, and I just did it in the Stornoway and the DK on its own. Fabulous. And if you want to just do that DK on its own, that's what I advise you do. The amount of ease in that pattern is off the hook. I did the 3XL, so I didn't do the biggest one. I did the next one down. In the first one, which I did in Spanish Bay, I adore, but because the gauge is so loose for that yarn, it needs a bit of running repair and TLC, and I've got to be careful for it. So so that's where I'm at with that. And I love it, but you will need to depill, you will need to do those sorts of things. If you're dropping it back, if you drop it back to the 5mm needle, it makes the world of difference. The Stornoway one that I've got is wearing a whole heap better. It's holding its shape better, and I only lost about 10% of ease. So I still have had no issues with the fit. It's not as baggy and loose as the other one, but not so discernibly different that I don't feel uncomfortable with it. And I like my waist way back, so I have put the waist way back in there. The beautiful thing about it too, you can alter your length as you go. Sorry, shows $49.95 per pack. The shortcut shows 200 for the 2 packs. Try the new browser. Flick it out and do it. Should that should be that's what I'd be trying. But it should still work. So because that potentially is sitting, there'll be a cookie that'll be sitting in there. So you'll need to either completely clear the browser history, completely clear the browser down, or even completely restart your device is the other thing you need to do. These are what we call a little bit of history gremlins sitting there. So you need to purge that so you can show the right price. Right. So if you're going to do DK on its own, so you can do that in the DK on its own, that's what I would do. So I would use 5mm needle and just make sure that you pick the size that is around 10%-ish bigger than what you would normally knit. So if you were knitting like the 3XL like me, and you were already at the outer level of that, you may want to go up a size. For me, I didn't. I was sort of smack bang in the middle of the range when I selected the size as written and dropped it back, and it was still good as gold. So that's where I was at. The other thing though is if you were wanting to do this combo, and I'm seriously tempted to do this, even if it's just to annoy somebody. Hey, Kathy, we like to do that, annoy him. I'm so tempted to do it just to annoy him, because I just know how much he hates that sweater. Isn't that awful? If you were to knit this in Love Note, knitted as written on the 6mm needle, because the binder and the mohair along with this, the two of them together, it gives you a bit of room for the mohair to move, but also too, because of those two strands together and the rigidity, funnily enough, of the binder and the mohair, it will help it hold its shape, and you will get that lovely, beautiful haloed lacy effect. So that would definitely work. So I'm so happy with this colour. I am really, really, really happy with this colour. It is gorgeous. And Peter has done the blending on this. He's done the blending on all of them. He started his life as a colourist. That's what he did as a 17-year-old lad in Yorkshire. And he's just loved being able to do these. And yeah, they've become very dear to our heart. And of course, we brought them back because the lovely Barbara, who's here, she ran into a cone of this from the original when we did this. It was one of the first ranges Peter did when he immigrated to New Zealand in the early 70s. So we decided to bring it back. So there you go. So yeah, long awaited. So happy that's here. So that is up on the website. It's live now, $8.95 a ball. So do enjoy. So if you've been looking to do something with that, fab. You can see the other ranges there, fab. All of these Highlander Heather yarns work completely interchangeably with all the Southlander yarns because they're all the same fibers, identical, and the counts are identical. So Southlander, Highlander Heathers, and Truly Myrtle too. So if you see some of the colours like this with the Truly Myrtles, there's I can see a bit of colour work with this in the new Clarity. It would look amazing, that beautiful, perfect blue, and this would look gorgeous. There are so many colours you can do with it. You can play around. Hope, the dark, broody. It's not as dark as this. It sort of sits in between these colours, would look amazing too. So you can actually interchange all of the colours, mix them all together if you're wanting to do some colour work and have a bit of fun with it. So that is up and live now. So I've got that done with beautiful photographs from Steph. So that is there. There is still, I'm just loading photos in, getting everything all done up. It's going to look amazing. So yeah, there's still so many yarns to come. Loads of yarns coming out next month. Loads and loads. So new, and I'm talking brand new yarns you've never seen before. I can't wait. It's just so good. Oh, Maureen. Good morning, Maureen. Maree, what is the colour of the jumper called? This is very, very, very old, but it is vintage carmine, Maureen. So that's what this. I think we still have some vintage abroad in carmine left. I've got a funny feeling, but that's what it is. Vintage carmine. I know it's as old as the hills. This one. I knitted this in the 2012 Rugby World. I think it was 2012. Yeah, 2012 Rugby World Cup. That's what I knit during the World Cup games. So this is I always joke because this is my World Cup jumper, because I knit it during the World Cup. Oh, good. I'm so glad Meep's saying that that's all fixed. I'm good. Troubleshooting this morning. I'm quite proud of myself. Kathy's just saying I should knit that love note, because then that way it will give me a love note for every day of can, and that will drive Ethan absolutely crazy. Yeah, it will drive him absolutely crazy. Oh, Sue's saying no Rosewell Sport, it's out of stock. No, it's not out of stock, Sue, but what that will be is the stock probably hasn't been shifted over into the warehouse yet, so I will make a note and get that done. Oh, 2011. Well, was it 2011, Margaret, that Rugby World Cup? That's when I knitted this, 2011. Shows you how old it is. I will get that Rosewell Sport moved over. It's just a press of a button thing, but I can't do it from this machine. I have to do it from the other machine. Right. Okay. So I did, in case you missed it on Thursday, I was just saying to Ethan, I'll just move this over here now. I was just saying to Ethan on Thursday that I was I'd lost my knitting mojo a little bit for a week or so. I'd finished my brother's jumper, which is still sitting out there waiting to be sent. I know, I've had a few things on. And I have, purse knitting, which I could have cast on, and I just wasn't feeling it. And I wanted to cast on something more substantial, and and you know what it is? It's like, and I'm sure you guys get this, when you want to sit down and want to watch some TV, and you've got like a squillion channels, and even on the streaming services, there's a squillion shows that you can pick whatever you want, whenever you want to watch it, and you can't find anything you want to watch. Well, that was me. I have got all these yarns, plus access to the new yarns that are coming out next month, which, by the way, really gorgeous, and one of them is actually featuring in the new project in a color actually that we didn't go with in the end, but it is exactly the same yarn. And it just didn't happen. It just did not happen. I just couldn't get into the vibe. It's like I couldn't get into the vibe of it. I just could not get into the vibe of it. So I do what I always do when I lose my knitting mojo. Out came Scrappy Crochet Blanket. So I've had sort of 10 days of Scrappy Crochet Blanket, which is great because it's really, really big at the moment. I could actually finish it because it's more than single bed size, but I'm actually it's looking so good because it's all printed, or it's like pulse and all printed yarns. So there's no solid yarns in it whatsoever. It's all multicolored. So I thought, and it's looking really cool. And because it's cold, having a big blankie on the lap and crocheting that has not been good. Susan saying Unforgotten TVNZ Plus amazing series. Ooh, I haven't seen that. What I have been watching, Sue. So this is the thing. So I've been doing Scrappy Blanket, and I don't watch a tremendous amount of TV. If I'm brutally honest, I just don't get the time to sit down. I'm a big audiobook girl, so I have to admit, often if I do get to knit, I'm headphones on listening to audiobooks. But I just felt like, to sit down and watch a bit of telly. And over this last sort of week or so, Magpie Murders on TVNZ Plus. Really good. It was perfect knitting telly. And I've also then, because I'd watched that, the algorithm tells you what it thinks you like. And then it came up with Murder in Provence. Well, it's right up my alley. So I did started one of those. I did one yesterday of that. That's what I did yesterday. So it's been quite nice. That has sort of helped get my mojo back. And on Friday, I spoke to Ethan. I said, I've been toying around with things, and I like the idea. We've got all this yarn, and then I thought, well, what do I do when I've got all this yarn, all this new yarn, all this stuff? What do I pick from? And then I suddenly thought, actually, what I pick from is I go to Stash. That's what I do, which I know you're probably thinking, eh? Hold on, let's make sure I bring this one out. It's that one there. So I went to Stash because, as you can imagine, I do have a pretty reasonable stash. So I thought, no, I'm going to dive into the Stash. I'm going to go and get inspired from what I have in there. And I did say to Ethan, this is where I was thinking I might end up going, because I've got so much here that I want to knit. I'm like dying to knit the Incognitos. There's all these different things, and I was just getting overwhelmed. Whereas all of this here is going to be there for me. And I thought, well, no, let's do something from Stash, because I think we all get like this. And we've got stuff for Stash. And I know I should be flogging stuff to you right now, but sometimes stay with me. Sometimes it's just nice to actually go back and cherish the things that you've already got. So as you guys well know, I'm a bit of a magpie when it comes to yarn purchasing, and I often will buy things because things will come in bundles and they'll speak to me at the time. So 2 years ago at Capital Fibre Fest, and often it shows I don't get time to buy anything, but because this time I had a bit of time before the end of the show. And directly opposite us at that event 2 years ago was the fabulous Annette Montgomery from Twisted Sisters. And so she's a hand spinner. If you do not know Annette's work, and I know everyone in the CFF movement, Creative Fibre movement, know Annette's work. But if you're in the mainstream movement, you don't know Annette's work, you need to know Annette's work. She does the most incredible art yarns. What is an art yarn, for those that don't know what an art yarn is? An art yarn is generally a hand-spun yarn, usually in a single skein. You often will only be talking 10 metres, maybe 20 metres, but it is literally the most joyous yarns that you will ever see, and they'll be made up of wonderful textures and things like beautiful beehive spinning features, and they're amazing. Like, they are literally works of art, and Annette is probably the most incredible person that does these yarns. So anyway, I went over, and she had been pretty cleaned out by the time I got there, but there was stuff that spoke to me, and there it is there. So the art yarn I chose, and pretty much all the yarn, I'll show you what I've got left, because there's stuff all of it. That's all I've got left of the art yarn, that much. And it was this incredible yarn, which was essentially lovely thick and thins with a ply that was already spun and plied. So you had this beautiful thick piece then spun with this really lovely roving piece. It's really gorgeous. And she then does these beehives, and look, and she'd put like leather to make these leather flowers. Is that not the most amazing thing you've ever seen? So I talked about these a couple of years ago after I'd been. And when I was there and I bought my art yarn, I looked at the colours. And so, for example, those are the colours there in the beehives. Can you see those? Right. So I took those colours, and then right across from here was the lovely Bonnie from Union Fibre. And those sort of colours are right into Bonnie's colour palette. So then I picked up this gorgeous worsted from Bonnie, which has got, I haven't got the tag, but it's like merino and linen and all sorts of, I think even could be some tencel in here. It's really interesting. Lovely and soft. Just twofold construction too. So I grabbed that. So I made sure I had 3 skeins of this, and I bundled it together with the art yarn in a bag and put it into Stash, because I thought, these are peas and carrots. They're going to go together, and I will work them together at some point. What I'm going to make with them, I have no idea, but I bundled them together. So that's what I did. So then I thought, right, I dived into the stash and found said bag. And then I thought to myself, right, the time has come. I need to start working with them. So then, of course, the next $6 million question is what does one do with set out yarns? And this, I suddenly thought, well, if I'm going to have any hope at all of completing a project in time for Cannes, it will potentially be one of my ponchos. And you've seen them. I've got 3 of them. I've got the one in Albertine, which is the original. Then I did the big green one, the big bulky green one, which was inspired by Stephen B, with all the double stranding and yarns and Malabrigo rasta, completely cray thing. And then I did the one using, again, a whole bunch of purples and similar tones from my stash, which I started during lockdown, because of course it was lockdown. Started in lockdown 1 and finished it in lockdown 2. And in fact, it was the project that used to occupy this basket before this one. And I got that finished. And it was, again, some Malabrigo I had in stash. And then I worked in between all of that a whole bunch of just crazy yarns that I had. I had stuff. There was a hand spun of mine. I had like a Skeinz Sale of that. There was there was even some Lurex in there. There was a weaving yarn in there. There was some mohair in there, double stranded with something else. It was all sorts. It was really random, completely random. Now, this is a poncho that I'm yet to write up, and I know it's on the round to it plan. I've now got it all in the head. So there's no pattern for it. I'm just doing it from my head. And I will get it written up and I know what I'm going to call it, because the whole thing is based on ratios and it's going to be called Ratio. And that's why I really don't need a pattern with it. And there's a very fundamental technique to have it all sort of sitting there. But ultimately, this poncho is the simplest poncho in the world, because all you're doing is knitting a rectangle, popping a seam in, and then picking up a neck and I like a lovely big rolled collar. So that's what I've decided to do. Now, that's as far as I've got. So because it's the way that it works, it will be sitting. The actual finished poncho, when it finishes, and actually it will go that way. And of course it's not all stretched out. I've got to think about this for a second. Yes. It will sort of sit. These will sit vertically. So that's sort of going to be the edge. So this will sort of work along, and yeah, so it will fold back over this way, and this is going to be one of the edges there. So you will have, actually it'll be here, all this beautiful edging will sort of, because it sits asymmetrically, so I should theoretically have all that art yarn sitting diagonally right across there when you wear it. And it's a mixture of, yes, because there's the base, there's the bottom there with the garter. And there's a reason for that. The garter sort of helps hold it sort of straight. And then you've got just these 2 banded stripes. So as you can see, everything's all sort of very meldy, mixy, right? Which is why I do it that way, because I just sort of find that, and I found that with the purple one and the green one, the colours all kind of melt together. So I had this from Bonnie. Then I dived around and I thought I wanted something else. And in stash was this yarn, which is going to be released probably next week, probably next week in the new month, is this. Now, this is a bulky, single woven bulky. This colour was a trial colour that got done when it was first put out. It was actually done originally for someone else, this yarn. And it's now... they've discontinued it from their range, and it is so soft, like really soft. And it's a merino alpaca acrylic. There's a little bit of acrylic in here, but not a lot. And to be fair, the acrylic content actually is quite good, because the acrylic content it also has the effect of silk. It actually has what we call a slight cross staining effect, the way that they've dyed it. So it actually gives it a little bit of with the color. And the handle on this is fabulous. So I've got the single roving yarn plus a 2-fold yarn, and as you can see, they're melting away there. My concern was, as I did the maths, between the 2 yarns, I've got roughly 600 metres of this and 1,560 odd metres of this. No, sorry, 560 metres of this, 600 metres of this. And I kind of think, I don't think that's quite going to be enough. So I came in here yesterday to have a little dive around in my sort of stash. I do have stash here too. I know. What can I say? And I had a little dive around and I plucked that guy out. And this is one of the original dip trials that Ian did. So this was only a single hank dip trial, which was just sitting in my sort of library of stuff. And as you can see, that sort of fits in with the colour, with the vibe of it. And then there was this guy. I haven't shown Claire this guy here, which was actually one that she had dyed when we were playing around with some new naked base, and she took some home to dye it. But as you can see, goes with the vibe of it there. And then when I dove back into stash, I had this guy, which as you can see, as I pull them all up together, see where I'm going with this? It's the vibe of it. The vibe of it. I know, and this is I pulled this one out of Deep Stash. It was all I had left. It's not a full ball. It's probably only a part ball, but that is Bohemia in Ambertype, which is one of the original colours from way back when. It's probably only about, actually, I think what this was when we were doing ball samples. This is the worsted. They did a 50 gram ball sample and a 100 gram ball sample. I think this is the 50 gram ball sample. So where am I going with this, you ask? Where I'm going with this is that this is the beautiful thing about this pattern. Because of the way the stripes are working, it's kind of like a fade in a way, because you can blend everything in. And what I'll do is, because I know that I've got about essentially 200 metres of this, I've got about 100 metres of this, is I'll just start working in the odd stripe of these as we move along. And I'll start introducing these actually pretty much now. And it just means that I've got them as they work in, and they all sort of kind of melt away as we go along. And I haven't done it just yet because of all the art yarns. It's so busy there anyway. Oh, Annette, you're here. Yes, I am knitting the art yarn in. Are you doing it how I said? I can't remember how you said, but what I've gone and done is I did all the flowers. How I did it, Annette, is I did the flowers on a purl stitch. So they were knitting, and then I pulled them forward. I purled the flowers and then pulled the yarn to the back. Is that how you told me to do it? But that seems to have worked beautifully because the flowers look great. But then I didn't do that for these guys here because I wanted a mixture of pulling forward and recessing out. So some of these I will go through and still actually pluck some of these forward and play around with them. But I couldn't be happier, to be honest with you, Annette. I couldn't be happier. I just absolutely love it. Totally love it. So that's where I'm at with it. That's when I started. And it's great because now I'm just on to the easy peasy part, because I've now got the art yarn in there, and it's just mucking around and altering out the kind of, no, but it looks great though. Front floats. Oh yeah, front floats. That's right. You did say about front floats. Yeah, yes, you did say about front floats. Yeah, there you go. Oh, see, look. So exciting. So this is what, look, there's the back, if anyone's wondering. That's what the back looks like. But I'm just loving it. So that's what I've cast on. I do need to get this poncho written up. What part of the reason I've dilly-dallied, I'm doing this on a 6mm needle, which is what I did the original poncho on way back in the day. The Albertine one was a DK on a 6mm. These are mostly a mixture of DK 10 ply, 12 ply, so that doesn't, really doesn't matter. That's why the 6-ply needle is perfect, because if it's a bit chunkier, it just handles it. Is that, I just need to sort of work out numbers of stitches and sort of do some measurements. It's going to be one of those ponchos where actually the number of stitches cast on is all depend. You need to knit a swatch, and then you will actually do some calculation. I just know people get funny with that, and it also takes time for me to actually get my shit together and write it and pull it together. But it's actually a really, really enjoyable thing to knit because it's just so straightforward. And you just whack it out, bang, 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 bang. So that's what I know. So I've got something cast on. So with any luck, I will get this close. I hopefully will get this finished in time for Can. But if I don't get it finished in time for Can, it's the sort of project that's perfect for Can because I can pick it up and put it down and pick it up and put it down and not actually have to worry about where in the hell am I at with my knitting. So, it's doing double duty. Right. Now, before I go, speaking of Knit August Nights, if you jump over to the website, knitaugustnights.co.nz, it is not still too late to register. There has been a class change, and I'm actually going to be doing a newsletter on this, a formal newsletter on this, probably in the next couple of days. One of the classes, the Pocket Queen class, only sold a couple of spaces, which isn't viable. So Libby and I have come up with another class. She's going to do a wardrobe toolbox taster class, which is essentially three of her favorite, basically the three top the three number one techniques that wardrobe toolboxes absolutely love. So that's what's going to be in the class. It's in on the website now. I haven't actually got it. If you go to register here and actually get the registration form, the description's up on the registration form. So and have I put it up on the, yeah, it's on the registration form. So have a look there. I haven't actually updated the website to put the description on the website yet. Hopefully I'll get to that tomorrow. But that is there. So if you are already registered for Can and you think to yourself, I think it's in stream 2. If you are already registered for Can, you think, I'd quite like to add that to my portfolio. You can just go to that registration form and collect, and under ticket type, select Can Extra. So you may have to already be registered to do this. Select Can Extra and then still select event registration and then add that class, making sure you don't already have a class in that stream. And then that will just charge you for the class and you can check out. Or if you're coming to Can and you want to drag someone else along to Can, that is such a brilliant class. You can do that. And there are still a handful of class spaces left in some of the other classes. Not a huge number, but there are. One of the classes is also an introduction to hand spinning, which is here. There are a few spaces left in that if you want to do that one. But yes, it is starting to fill up. And I'm just Pocket Queen is in stream 1, Kathy tells me. So there you go. If you've got nothing else in stream 1 on Friday morning, you could do this new class, which we're calling Toolbox Taster. So if you want to do the Toolbox Taster, stream 1, and you've got nothing else in stream 1, you can select that and come along and try and maybe drag someone new along too with that class, because that pretty much that class is empty, so you can jump on in that and do that one. And I think there are a couple of classes, a couple of spaces left in the other class with Libby, which is just completely gone because I'm exhausted. And there was one cancellation. So, oh gosh, there goes the fire engines. There was one cancellation and there was just 1 or 2 cheeky spaces in a couple of the other classes. I think mending was one of them. So woohoo! It is just so exciting. I know Can is going to be, it's nearly a month away. I know I've got stuff arriving already. It's all getting, rather exciting. But anyway, I'm going to let you go. So thank you for joining me this morning. I'll be back again here on Thursday to tell you about something a little special we're doing across that weekend. But until then, you have a great time and I'll talk to you then. Bye.